When it comes to retirement, do you want to have the same old plan everyone else has? Of course not. You're unique and have your own goals and dreams. Don't be treated like a number. This is your retirement. So it's time to think differently. And you're in luck because you found the Retire Your Way podcast with Dave Lopez, founder and managing member of ILG Financial. At ILG Financial, you won't find generic run-of-the-mill plans containing the same old cookie-cutter solutions. Dave and the ILG Financial team focus on building one retirement plan at a time using their Think Differently philosophy. And that means your own comprehensive plan with customized solutions built to achieve just one goal, yours. So put on your Think Differently hat and get ready to take back control of your retirement today and for all the tomorrows to come. ILG Financial's Retire Your Way podcast was created just for you, and it's starting right now.
Thank you so much. Coming to you from the ILG Financial Studios, this is Retire Your Way, the show that gives you straight talk and honest answers about how to achieve your financial goals through smart investing and careful planning. Glad to have you along with us today. We have some valuable information for you that could change your financial life for the better. My name is Jeff Shade, and I'm just here to ask the questions, but the words of wisdom and the solid advice come from the Chief Financial Officer of ILG Financial. That's Dave Lopez. How you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing great. Always good to be here.
And you know it's always great to be with you again, Dave, too. Well, here we are together again, Dave. This is podcast number 2 of our series. In our last show, we talked a little bit about your background and also the philosophies that you employ there at ILG Financial. On this show, among other things, I want to start off by talking about the Secure Act. Now, Dave, Americans as a whole have not been really great savers, and the Secure Act, I think, is going to be a big help for them saving for retirement. So let's start off, Dave, by talking a little bit about what the Secure Act really is.
Well, without getting into too much detail, I would just tell everybody listening, if you have an advisor or a consultant and they haven't already addressed this with you, please get on the phone with them or give us a call, because the changes are significant and they can dramatically affect your outcome in retirement based on a plan that you would have built anytime before December 31st of 2019. This happens in the past with other laws, but they've really leveled it. So just to give you an example, the biggest thing that's going to hit folks is if you've got a lot of money in 401ks and IRAs and you think you might be passing that on to your kids, there was a very tax-efficient way to do that up until December 31st of 2019. You could do what was called an inherited IRA, and it would allow your kids to defer the tax over their lifetime, and all they had to do was take out a little bit each year, and the amount was based on how old they were. So the younger they were when you pass, the less they have to take out each year. So it was a wonderful opportunity to defer a retirement account over 2 lifetimes. Well, one of the big changes of the Secure Act is that they've said instead of being able to defer it over your heir's lifetime, they can only defer it 10 years. Now, that doesn't sound significant, but it's huge. And if you do the math, it could be $250,000 or more in taxes that the heirs could pay, depending on the amount of your retirement account and how old or how young your heir is. Now, there's other things with the Secure Act. There's some good and there's bad, like anything, right, Jeff? Nothing's free. So with every good thing in there had to be something that was going to charge extra taxes. The government is very proud of the fact, and they are, when you look into this, you'll see about them talking about how much extra revenue they're going to pull in from retirees off of this change to the inherited IRAs. So, what's good for them could be devastating for you and your plan.
So there's not going to be any more, as they called it, stretch IRA. Dave, I also understand as part of the Secure Act that the required minimum distribution age has also changed.
Yeah, so that's one of the good things is they've said, hey, we're living longer. So some folks, for those who are listening and don't know what that means, Jeff, that's RMD is required minimum distribution. All that means is if you have a 401k, a 457, a 403b, and of course IRAs, any of those retirement accounts, the government says even if you don't need the money, remember you to this point have not been paying tax on that money. It's been growing tax deferred, and you didn't pay tax on it when it went in. Well, the government wants their tax dollars. So what they've said is even if, Jeff, you don't need this money when you hit 70 and a half, you've got to start taking some out. And it starts right around 3.7%, and then it ekes up a little each year. And the reason they want it out is they want you to pay tax on it. Now, if you don't need the money, you pull it out, you pay tax on it, state and federal tax, if you have a state like Virginia that charges tax. And then you can reinvest it, but you can't put it back in the IRA. You have to put it in a regular account that's taxed as you go. Well, the new Secure Act said, hey, listen, we're willing to bump that from 70.5 to 72. So that's really 2 extra years for some folks, 1.5 for others, depending on your birth date, that you could let this money continue to defer and not have to pay taxes on it. That could be a big deal, and we want to add that into your plan. So again, that's something that would have to change with your current plan.
And Dave, I understand that another change to the Secure Act is that you can now include annuities in your 401k, so that's some good news right there. The new Secure Act, of course, changes things a little bit. If you have questions about your particular situation, you can call Dave Lopez there at 540-720-5656, and you can also email him from the website, which is ilgfinancial.com. Dave, I understand that the Secure Act is the subject of a white paper that people can also download at ILG. Is that ready yet, do you know?
Oh, absolutely. It should be up probably within a week. Our clients are already getting it. But if you want it, you don't have to wait for that. Just go to the website, and all over the site, you'll see opportunities to contact us. Just shoot a quick email through the website, ask for the white paper, and we'll get it to you within 48 hours. Of course, like everything on the site, Jeff, there's no charge. It's our pleasure to help.
And once again, that website is ilgfinancial.com. Dave, I want to talk about the complimentary plan that you offer there at ILG Financial and also your book, Mama's Secret Recipe for Retirement Success. But we've got to take a quick break, about a minute or so. We'll be right back with more of Dave Lopez from ILG Financial right after this.
You're one step closer to learning what a customized retirement strategy can do for you. Stay tuned for more of ILG Financial's Retire Your Way podcast with Dave Lopez.
Are you concerned about running out of money in retirement? Hi, this is Dave Lopez, managing member of ILG Financial. We want to show you how to avoid the simple mistakes and common misconceptions that can jeopardize your retirement. At ILG Financial, we think differently about retirement planning and think you should too. We'll start by helping you understand how your money works so you can feel more confident about your finances. We'll help protect what you have and explore growth opportunities without taking unnecessary risks with your nest egg. We'll be transparent and shine a light on your biggest retirement expenses like taxes and hidden fees. Call us today to schedule your complimentary review at 540-720-5656 or go to ilgfinancial.com and download a free copy of our Little Red Book of Retirement. That's ilgfinancial.com.
Investment advisory services offered through AlphaStar Capital Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AlphaStar and ILG Financial are independent entities.
Income, legacy, growth. It's all right here at ILG Financial. And it's about helping you plan for retirement your way so you can achieve your financial goals. Call ILG Financial at 540-720-5656 or go online to ilgfinancial.com to learn more. Now back to the Retire Your Way podcast with Dave Lopez.
Welcome back to the show with Dave Lopez of ILG Financial. I'm Jeff Shade. We've been talking about the Secure Act here. We want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about the complimentary financial plan that you offer there at ILG Financial. And I want to talk about your book, Mama's Secret Recipe for Retirement Success. But getting back to that financial plan, I think a lot of people are afraid of money. Dave, this is a true story. I have another friend who's a financial advisor, and in his initial consultation with a client, they exchanged their pleasantries, visited a little bit, and finally it was time to get down to what she called scary money stuff. Dave, why do you think finances is so scary to some people?
Yeah, it's interesting that comes up quite a bit. And I've had that same discussion with clients. They called it something else, and sometimes they were a little more colorful in the wording. But what I told them is it's not a coincidence. You know, whenever we've got a fear, and we're talking, of course, about finances, but it can be anything. That's the mechanism that our human mind uses to keep us alive, right? There's a reason that we weren't eaten by a saber-toothed tiger is we were afraid of them, right? If you weren't afraid, you'd have walked right up to them and petted them, and that would have been your last act, right? So it's a defense mechanism. So you should use fear to your advantage. Fear should be a red flag telling you, I'm missing something here that is putting me at risk. So in this young lady's case, she was completely justified to be fearful because, one, she had no plan, and either on a conscious or a subconscious level, she has recognized that she didn't have a plan to address what could happen. Think 2008, right? Or think 1970 savings and loan issues, things like that. She didn't have a plan that was going to deal with those things. So she was right to be afraid. Now, the good news is there's an answer for that. The answer is, just like anything else, if you kind of face the fear and really take a look at it, it'll go away once you understand why you're afraid and then you deal with the issue. It is no difference in financial planning. These folks are afraid because they have no plan. They think they're not quote-unquote money people, right? And they don't address it. They just hide from it, put it in a closet, and hope the problem goes away. The solution is to build out a comprehensive plan using a systematic method, not one that you've tried to figure out on your own if this isn't your area of expertise, but a systematic method that's been proven because it's been used time and time again, probably the exact same way you figured out procedures for any job you've done over your life. Well, that's what we do at ILG Financial, and this is where I really think we have the advantage of me coming into this business as the math geek, the analytical thinker, is, again, when I came into this business, my big takeaway, there has got to be a better way to do this than just have people put some in stocks, some in bonds, cross your fingers, and hope the whole thing works out. And 11 years later, and thousands of plans at least, what we have done is we have honed our process down into a systematic strategy and a system we walk our clients through to build out a plan that's in their best interest. Now, what's interesting about our strategy is every client goes through the exact same system, and this ensures that we don't miss a critical piece of information that could cost them money in the future or could cause their plan to blow up in their face if an event comes that they weren't ready for. Think this new Secure Act and the changing of the law. So every client goes through the same systematic process, but the end result is different for each and every client. And I can tell you after 11 years, I do not have 2 clients, Jeff, that have the same plan. And that would make perfect sense, wouldn't it? They all have different goals, they have different amount of monies and different risk tolerances.
That's exactly right, Dave. It makes a lot of sense there. No two people are the same. Everyone's going to have individual circumstances and individual goals. Dave, let's talk about this complimentary plan that you offer there at ILG Financial. For those people who are interested in coming in and getting one of those, I understand that there's no cost and there is no obligation. It's just a friendly chat to get to know you and you to get to know them.
Yeah, and let me tell you why we do that. We have, over the years, come to recognize, and this makes sense to almost everyone who walks in the office, these folks have worked their entire life and saved. This is their life savings. It is not reasonable for them to want to just give it to someone and trust them that they're going to invest it for them when they've met us 1 or 2 times. So there's a natural trepidation when you're meeting with someone. And if you've ever met with an advisor once or twice or heard someone talk and you're nervous, once again, that's fear helping you out and it's working to your advantage. So what we have decided to do, and we have done it for years and it works wonderfully, is we have said, listen, that is a reasonable fear and here's how we're going to help you with it. We are going to build out a plan for you over 4 or 5 meetings, but we'll commit to take as long as it takes to get the plan the way the client wants it. We are going to do that at no charge, and we are going to commit to stick with it until it's the way they want it. Now, once the plan's done, there is no obligation. There's no hard sell. We're not going to ask anything of them at that point. They're free to literally take the plan and walk away if they chose to. Now, the reason we do that is it gives this client a chance to, 1, build a plan, whether at the end of the day they think I'm a good fit or not. So we're helping people even if we don't get compensated. But the other thing it does is as we go through this process together, they're going to get to know me and the whole firm. And they're going to know by the end of this process if we're a good fit for them, because we hope to be managing their money, and that's the plan for the rest of their lives. So they want to be working with someone that they've worked with over a process that they like and they feel they can continue to work with. And that's what we give everybody.
That sounds great, Dave. Very generous, a lot of great information, and no obligation whatsoever. If you'd like a no-cost, no-obligation complimentary plan from Dave Lopez there at ILG Financial, simply call 540-720-5656 or request it online at ilgfinancial.com. Well, Dave, I want to talk about this book that you have out now. It's called Mama's Secret Recipe for Retirement Success. And I've got a copy in front of me right now, your smiling face on it. To your right, my left, is Jack Canfield, who's also written a lot of these types of books, right?
Yeah, in fact, most folks know him for his success with all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. He was one of the authors in those and to great success. They're wonderful books, and we just feel so blessed that he was part of this project and helped champion it and see it through. And having our names tied to somebody with his abilities is just quite an honor.
Yeah, Jack really does have a great background, and you as well. I've had a chance to read the book a bit, Dave, and one of the great stories that I really did enjoy up front there is about your 7th grade shop teacher, Mr. A, and how that ties into finances. Dave, could you tell that story a little bit here?
Yeah, it's funny how many real-life things have happened to us that we end up using later in life, and we don't even realize it. And I tell this story because it's very appropriate for what we're doing here with retirement planning. The first exposure I ever had to a shop class, and I may be dating myself just to get us to the point where they don't even have shop class in many places anymore, but I walked in 7th grade and I thought I was in heaven, as most 13-year-old boys would. We had hundreds of tools on the wall. We had wood lathes and metal lathes and everything you could imagine, right? And we couldn't wait to use all of it. But we had to sit down and be quiet first, and we met our teacher, and his name was Mr. A, and he had a big red beard. He looked like Paul Bunyan, a great guy with a huge smile. And I'll never forget what he told us, because I use it today. He said, right tool for the right job. Right tool for the right job. And that has stuck with us today. And because what we have found over and over again, when I look at folks who come in and meet with me for the first time, what I see is they have built a plan either consciously or by inaction unconsciously. And as they've built this plan, misinformation, partial information, myths, and incorrect data have crept into their decision-making process. And what we see is folks are now at this critical age. And what I mean by that, Jeff, is they're at this age where there's no time to make up for mistakes. And we're seeing them making decisions based on partial or misinformation. And what ends up happening is they may see money slipping through the cracks. Now, it may be a little bit of money, but it may be a lot of money. But we don't want money slipping through the cracks if we can avoid it. So what we have found is we want to build out a plan. And as we do it, Jeff, we want to have as many investment tools or investment vehicles, let's call them tools, available when we're building the plan. Just like if you were building a house, you would not want to walk out and build a house and say, I've got one saw, one hammer, and one type of nails. Right? That's going to limit your success. You'd like access to all the tools, even though you're probably only going to use 8 or 9 tools. You don't want to limit your success by missing out on a tool that might be a better fit. So what we do is we can bring all the tools to the table. We are a fiduciary advisor. A lot of folks don't know what that means, but it basically means we're tasked with building out plans that are in the client's best interest. Now that sounds like common sense, but most advisors aren't held to the fiduciary standard. It's just not advertised, but that's the case. We're held to the fiduciary standard. So I need to make sure if I'm building out your plan, Jeff, that I've got all the necessary information and that I've looked at all the tools available so that we can make the right connection.
So once again, Dave, the takeaway from good old Mr. A there is the right tool for the right job. And of course, if you use the wrong tool, you're more than likely not going to get the results that you expect. And I know there at ILG Financial, Dave, you got quite the toolbox to choose from. If you'd like to sit down with Dave and discuss the tools that it might take to get you to and through retirement, Dave is offering that complimentary, no-obligation consultation for you. That number, 540-720-5656, 540-720-5656. You can also find out more about the firm and request your consultation online at ilgfinancial.com. Well, Dave, we just get started, then it's time to say goodbye for another week. I want to invite everyone to join us next week when we'll talk about the ILG 5-step retirement process, in addition to more about the Secure Act. For Dave Lopez, I'm Jeff Shade. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again next week with another edition of Retire Your Way.
The information provided is for educational purposes only and is not intended as investment advice for any individual or entity. All information contained herein is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. The views presented today are those of Dave Lopez and not necessarily represent the views of AlphaStar Capital Management, LLC. The opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and do not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Please consult your financial professional before executing any financial strategy. Investment advisory services offered through AlphaStar Capital Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. AlphaStar and ILG Financial, LLC are independent entities.